This is Labourn Grove, current home to one of the founder members of the Football League Division 3 North in 1921. A club who less than 100 years ago were playing the likes of Wrexham, Accrington Stanley and Doncaster in the third tier, but have since suffered one of the biggest falls in Football League history. A club that has dropped so far they were recently dubbed the worst team in the UK, just pipping Spurs to that particular title. Hello, my name is Richard and this is Football Journeys. Today we are here in the beautiful cathedral city of Durham to look at the history and home grounds of a former Football League club who now play in the 11th tier of the English football pyramid. This is the story of Wearside League Division 1 club, Durham City AFC. Durham is a cathedral city in County Durham with a population of around 50,000. The city was founded in 995 by Anglo-Saxon monks from Lindisfarne in Northumberland looking to flee from Viking invaders and was built on the River Wear. While now noted for its cathedral and university, Durham was once at the very heart of the northeast coal mining industry. Famous former residents include music producer Trevor Horn, cricketer Paul Collingwood and former footballer George Campsell. The football club here were formed in 1918 and they originally played on wasteland here on Flamwell Gate, now the site of County Hall. Durham City joined the Victory League, created to celebrate the end of World War I, but after finishing bottom in 1920 they moved to the North Eastern League. Despite only managing a mid-table finish in 1921, Durham was surprisingly elected as one of the 14 founder members of the newly formed Football League Division 3 North. By then the club had moved to a new home called Kepier Hawes, here at what was the site of the medieval Kepier Hospital. The area had subsequently been used as a mining works, brickworks and a rifle range until the club moved here in 1920. And this was the venue of the club's first ever match in the Football League against Southport in September 1921 in front of a crowd of over 3,800. That season also saw Durham finish in their highest ever league position of 11th in Division 3 North. But with the stadium out of the city centre and attendances dropping to around the 1,000 mark, the club was soon looking for a new home. The final match here at Kepier Hawes was a 4-1 victory over Barrow in May 1923, and the land was subsequently sold to the North Eastern Electricity Board in the 1940s. The plan was to build a power station here, but that never materialised, and the land is now part of a school playing field. In 1923, the club moved into the newly built Holiday Park, named after Alderman T.W. Holiday. This was much closer to the city centre, just off what is now Flamwell Gate waterside, next to the River Wear. The club brought the old wooden stand from Kepier Hawes, and this remained the only spectator facility during their spell in the Football League. The first match here was a 0-0 draw against Rochdale in September 1923, watched by over 4,000 fans, while the record attendance was 7,180 for an FA Cup tie against West Stanley the following year. While Durham finished bottom of the league in 1923, they were re-elected, and in 1926 they reached the second round of the FA Cup before losing to Southport. But their days in the Football League were numbered. After finishing 20th in 1927 and 21st in 1928, the club were not re-elected and were replaced in the Football League by Carlisle United. Their last match as a league club was a 5-1 win over Crewe Alexandra in May 1928, watched by over 5,000 spectators, and after that Durham was relegated to the North Eastern League Division 1. Durham finished bottom in 1929 to drop into Division 2, and when they finished in the bottom three seasons in a row, they dropped into the Wearside League in 1938, a drop of 3 tiers in just 10 years. By then the club had been renamed City of Durham FC, and in 1937 a new 2,000 seat stand had been erected at the ground in preparation for greyhound racing being staged here. This also meant the pitch had to be reduced in size, and this, along with financial struggles off the pitch, meant the club had to fold completely in November 1938. The ground here was eventually expanded, but when the greyhound racing ended in 1954, it was bought by the Electricity Board. The club were reformed in late 1949 as Durham City AFC and played here at Ferrens Park, named after Alderman Ferrens. Ferrens was president of the club for many years until his death in 1975. The new club rejoined the Wearside League for the start of the 1950-51 season before moving to the Northern League in 1953. It seems hard to believe now that this was one of the best grounds in the Northern League with its plush clubhouse, floodlights and covered stands. In 1956 the club reached the first round of the FA Cup, losing at home to Bishop Auckland, while in 1957 they went one better, reaching a second round before losing to Tranmere Rovers in front of a record crowd of over 7,000 here at Ferrens Park. But despite finishing bottom of the Northern League in 1961, 1964 and 1965, they bounced back to finish runners-up in 1971. However, in 1983 the club were relegated to the newly formed Northern League Division 2, and after yo-yoing between the two divisions for a few years, they bounced back to win the Division 1 title for the first time in 1994, along with the Cleater Cup. But that proved to be the last season Durham City played at Ferrens Park, as the club awaited the opening of their new stadium. The site here was demolished in the late 1990s and redeveloped into this housing estate. So for the 1994 and 1995 season, Durham were forced up the A167 to play here at Moor Lane, home to Chester Street Town FC, a club we'll feature in a future episode. The ground was opened in 1978 and Chester Street Town moved here in 1980. This new clubhouse was completed in 2020 at a cost of £750,000. However, Durham played here for just one season before moving back to the city in 1995 to move into their new home, imaginatively called New Ferrens Park. With a capacity of 2,700 and seating for 270 spectators, this ground was a big upgrade on anywhere else the club had previously played. This was reflected on the pitch, and in 2002 the club won the League Cup and Cleater Cup double, while in 2008 they added a second Northern League title and a third Cleater Cup. This led to promotion to the Northern Premier League Division 1 North, and they won promotion to the Premier Division at the first attempt. But having installed an artificial pitch here in 2006, it meant the club were unable to be promoted to the National League, and as a result their main sponsors pulled out. This saw Durham lose most of their players, and this inevitably led to relegation to Division 1 in 2010, when they finished the season with 0 points. With finances in a mess, the club resigned completely from the Northern Premier League in 2012 to drop back into the Northern League, where they were taken over by former Newcastle United player Olivier Bernard. In 2015, Durham were relegated again into the Northern League Division 2, and due to a dispute with the landlord here at New Ferrens Park, they were forced out and had to share at Concerts Bellevue Ground, which is a club we'll feature in a future episode. The ground here at New Ferrens Park, which has also been home to Durham City Women, is now used by Durham Corinthians FC and Spennymoor Town Women. In 2017, the club were on the move again to Willington to share their Hall Lane ground. While here, the club were dubbed the worst team in England following a run of only one win in 4 years from April 2019 to May 2023. It was a close run thing, but in the end, they just managed to pip Spurs to that particular title. In 2022, Durham were relegated to the Wearside League, the 11th tier of English football, and they moved here into their new home, Leyburn Grove at Houghton-le-Spring, where our journey began. But the move did not bring about a change of fortune, and at the end of the 2022-2023 season, Durham were relegated once again to the Wearside League Division 1, where they finished in mid-table at the end of the 2023-2024 season. So this has been the rather sorry tale of Durham City AFC, a former Football League club who have suffered one of the biggest falls in Football League history. My name is Richard and this has been Football Journeys. If you have enjoyed this episode, why not give it a like and please consider subscribing to the channel. As well as these great little football documentaries, we also bring you some running vlogs, loads of other great content, plus some unique drone footage. So that's all we have time for this week. Thanks for watching and don't forget to stay tuned for some bonus drone footage to follow.